let's take a minute and talk about while loops. While loops are one of the basic control structures that we're going to use when we're programming. A while loop checks for a condition, and if the condition is met, it's going to run the code that's within that loop. After it's done that code, it's going to loop back up to the top, and it's going to check to see if the condition's still true. If the condition's still true, it's going to run that code again. And it's going to keep doing this loop as long as the condition is true. It's going to run the program as long as it needs to run. It's going to do what you're telling it to do as long as the condition is met. So if we want to think about this, it's kind of like bailing out a boat. You get into the boat, there's water in the bottom of the boat, and you're going to take the bucket and you're going to scoop the water out and dump it out. And if there's still water in the boat, your condition's still met, you're going to take another scoop. And after that scoop, you're going to check, is there more water? If there is, keep scooping, keep bailing. As long as there's water, while there's water, you're going to bail. And when all the water's gone, now your condition's not met, now you're going to stop doing that. You're going to proceed on to the next step. One place you're going to see this regularly is in games. There's usually a game loop. While the character is still alive, while he still has energy, while he still has time, the loop is going to run. When there's no more lives, when there's no more energy, when there's no more time, now the condition's not met. It's time to stop the game. Another place you'll see this, a while loop, is when you might see it in checking for status. So you're just checking to see if something is met and keep on checking back on a program or a situation to see, do you need to keep doing this? You could have a drone, an automated drone, that you're trying to get to a certain height. And while you're not at that height, you're going to have the elevator set to a certain degree, or you're going to have the thrust set to a certain amount, as long as you're not at your height. But once you're at your height, you're going to stop. Right? You're going to stop that. You're going to stop raising. Another place where you might see, it's not exactly, because it's not a computer program, it's actually done by a switch, but a rice cooker. The rice cooker keeps checking the temperature of the container. And as long as the temperature isn't over 100 degrees, it's going to keep the element on. As soon as the temperature jumps over 100 degrees, it knows there's no more water left, and it's going to stop. And that's how a rice cooker looks. It's really just using this. It's using a more mechanical way, but it's using this idea of, as long as this condition isn't met, I'm going to keep running. This allows us to run programs for unknown periods of time, when we don't quite know how long it's going to take, but we know we have to do it until this condition is met, or until this condition is no longer true, is more accurately. We have to keep running as long as this condition is true. This is what we're going to have to do. We're going to want a while loop for something like this. So we've looked at if. This is while. We're also going to look at for loops a little bit later here. But as we look at the different control structures, we really got to think, what's the best one for our situation? We can often shoehorn in the control structure we want to use, but it's better off to take just a few minutes, consider the different control structures, and see if this one's the best fit.